Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you know when live we go. Hello everyone, welcome to today's DNS. We're going to have a discussion on today's newspaper, The Hindu, Delhi edition dated 25th July 2021. We shall pick up articles important for civil service examination and discuss them as per the demand of the exam. There is an article on the Science and Tech page of today's newspaper, Moon Forming Region, seen around exoplanet for the first time. This picture that you see has been taken by one of the largest observatory on Earth, Atacama Large Millimeter Array. Within this bright region of gas and dust, you see a planet. The zoomed version of this looks like this. This is a planet. And this dull region around this planet is in form of a disk. This is the moon forming region. The planet has been observed to be orbiting a young star named as PDS 70. There are two gaseous planets around PDS 70, termed as PDS 70b and c. The system is located very nearby, just 370 light years, and in astronomical sense, this is just next door. You see, the moon forming region has been observed for the first time, and the excitement for this is huge because it will help us test our theory for formation of stars and planets and moons. So far, we know around 4,400 exoplanets, but most of them are in their mature stage. So this is an opportunity for us to study the formation of a planet and its moon. That will give us huge insight into the formation of stars and planets and moons. The theory that we hold so far for formation of stars and the planets and the moons is the nebula theory. The theory goes like this, that there are too much of dust in the intergalactic space. These are intergalactic gases. When the intergalactic gases starts to coalesce, they are very cold. The dust particle is surrounded by the icy layers. When they start coming together, due to force of gravity, more and more mass starts to coalesce, come together, form bigger and bigger mass. This results in emission of heat. The bigger it gets, the more gravitational pull it has, and the tendency to become bigger and bigger grows, and it becomes hotter and hotter because of release of more and more heat. If it becomes huge, it will become extremely hot and it will result in formation of a star. This star will start pulling the dust around it, and in that disk around the star, if the dust starts to coalesce again, then there will be formation of planet. Since the planet will not become too big, it will not become too hot. So it will remain a planet rather than a star. But this planet will start revolving around the sun, hence clearing the space around the star, and itself will start to gather the dust around it in the form of disk. This disk of dust around the planet will help it grow, will control its size. And yet again, if the dust starts to coalesce in this disk around the planet, that will result in formation of the moon. But we are not very sure how exactly it happens because we have never seen it happening. But for the first time, a moon forming region, meaning a disk of dust, has been discovered around a planet orbiting around a star. Although it is not 100% confirmed that will result in formation of the moon, but it seems like it's a moon forming region. And if we can observe that region, we can actually see for real formation of a moon around a planet. And that will confirm the nebula theory that we hold. So the significance of discovery of these two planets is huge. It will help us to test the theory of planet formation. Additionally, both the exoplanets that have been discovered are very young. In fact, the star around which they are orbiting, it is just few million years old. So the system is at very young stage of formation. So this is most suitable to test our theory of planet and moon formation. Additionally, it is very nearby, as we have seen that it is just 370 light years away, which in astronomical sense is just next door. So it makes it easy to be observed from Earth, and it will get even easier by upcoming project like Extremely Large Telescope of European Southern Observatory. And studying this system will become even more easier by launch of James Webb Space Telescope. Now let's talk about Atacama Large Millimeter or Sub-Millimeter Array. This observatory has taken the picture that we have seen in the beginning. It's a collection of 66 radio telescopes in the Atacama Desert. As the name suggests, it does the astronomical study in the millimeter and sub-millimeter wavelength region. It's an international cooperation of Europe, United States, Canada, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Chile. It is the most powerful Earth observatory to study the cooler region of universe, where we study the gaseous molecule and the dust particles. Because sub-millimeter wavelength is most suitable to study these regions. Sub-millimeter wavelength actually lies between far infrared wavelength and microwave. On the right, you have infrared, then you have near infrared, then you have visible light, and from here in the left, you'll have radio wave. This is the region of sub-millimeter wavelength range. Notice that it is away from near infrared. Near infrared is the region in which Earth emits its own radiation. So it has to be away from here. But there are still problems. The problem is that the atmosphere also emits in this region. And the radiation coming far from the stars and the planets in this region also gets attenuated in the atmosphere. There is also background noise in this region. So the observatory has to be in a place which is free from background noise, away from human habitation, and where the atmosphere is clear and cool. There shouldn't be much water vapor and absorption by water vapor in the atmosphere. The desert of Atacama is cool and it is also dry. So Atacama Desert in Chile is most suitable for observatories that works in the millimeter or sub-millimeter wavelength region. That is why this extremely large telescope of European Southern Observatory is also going to be set up in Chile, very near to Alma. Now answer two questions. Number one, what are the geographical reasons that has led to the prevailing condition in Atacama that it has made it suitable for Atacama large millimeter sub-millimeter array to function properly? And number two, why Saturn in our solar system has disk around it? Because we have discussed that that is a feature for formation of moon. That kind of disk revolving around the planet is considered to be the moon formation zone. So, do we actually know why Saturn has a disk around it? There is an article on page number 9, Buddha's teachings have served us well, says the Prime Minister in his speech on the occasion of Dharma Chakra Day. Dharma Chakra Day is celebrated remembering the first teaching of Lord Buddha after he gained enlightenment to 5 of his ascetic followers in the Deer Park, which is situated in Sarnath near Varanasi. The Prime Minister has said that the teaching of Lord Buddha has become all more relevant in the current time during the era of COVID-19 pandemic. Dharma Chakra in Buddhism consists of 4 noble truth and noble eightfold path. The first truth in the 4 noble truth is dukkha. Dukkha refers to suffering, pain, unable to satisfy oneself. Dukkha is an innate characteristic in existence in the realm of samsara. This is also alternatively said as life is full of sorrow. Life is full of dukkha. Pain, suffering, dukkha is inseparable from existence in this world. Samudaya, the origin of dukkha, arises from tanha. Tanha is craving, desire, attachment. Or alternatively, with desire, attachment, craving comes also dukkha. So dukkha is part of life, and the reason for dukkha in life is our desire. To overcome this dukkha, nirodha, meaning to stop, to end. Nirodha of dukkha, to end the sorrow, the pain, the suffering, there must be renouncement, separation, letting go of tanha, letting go of desire, attachment. And what is the process of renouncement, of letting go tanha? Is to follow the right path, magga. Magga means path. Which path is that? That is noble eightfold path. Following this path will lead to renouncement from tanha. Buddha described the eightfold path as right view, right resolve, right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right samadhi. Samadhi means meditation. It also means union, union of mind and soul. These 8 components in the Noble Eightfold Path can also be classified into 3 categories. These categories are virtue, meditation, and wisdom. Right speech, right action, right livelihood are part of virtue. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration are part of meditation. And right view and right resolve can be categorized as part of insight and wisdom. Now let's talk a little bit of Buddha's teaching in the current times. UPSC in 2000 mains examination has asked a question in paper 4. What teachings of Buddha are most relevant today and why? So the question that we are going to discuss already has been asked, but still remains relevant for essay writing and also for using it indirectly in writing answers to other questions of GS paper 4. UPSC has asked question on the same line previously in 2018. Throw light on significance of the thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi in the present times. And you know this game of UPSC means of relating the current with the past. Coming to teachings of Lord Buddha. As we have observed previously in the Eightfold Path, there is emphasis on right observation, which implies that knowledge is not possible without experience. The practical knowledge that we are focusing on in the modern education system, that is rooted in the teaching of Lord Buddha. Life is full of sorrow, and the cause of sorrow is desire. Negative emotion like greed, ignorance, hatred. Now, if you remain active in your mind and you can think of examples for every point, then there will be fun in learning. You focus on these 4 things and think as to how these 4 negative emotions and negative thoughts are causing problem in the current times. Corruption in modern day democracy is rooted in greed, desire. The governments are more corrupt in areas where citizens are less participative. They are ignorant of their duties. The issue of misogynism, caste-based violence, communal violence, intolerance towards LGBT community, they all are because of hatred. These have been considered to be the main cause of suffering. Buddha understood obviously the problem that hatred can cause. He said that hate cannot quell hate. Hatred can never be seized by hatred. To solve the problem of hatred, one party has to be loving kind. That is the only way to stop hatred in this world. Right speech is one of the pillars in the Eightfold Path of Lord Buddha. Today we know the problem of hate speech. How the statements given by political leaders, the world leaders, can spark controversy. According to Jonathan Maynard, hate speech is an important catalyst in mass violence. Emily Dickinson, she has said that words are all we have. You must have heard the famous proverb, mind your word. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that just like an arrow coming out of bow cannot be returned, similarly the word coming out of the mouth cannot be returned and its effect cannot be obliterated. Buddha has taught us to inculcate compassion in us, calmness, serenity, composure, to maintain a balance between man and nature. The problem of unsustainable development, the problem of man-animal conflict, the problem of pollution, the problem of materialism, it can be solved if we inculcate compassion for both living and non-living entity. Compassion is considered to be a high human value. In civil service aptitude in the syllabus of GS paper 4, you study empathy and compassion. It is considered to be foundational value. Right action, right livelihood are important components of Eightfold Path. It is important to note here for you so that you can use it in your answer writing. Right livelihood is a component of Eightfold Path. For Nirodha, to overcome suffering, sorrow, pain, the ways and means through which you are earning your livelihood is important. It should be free of corruption. Lord Buddha has emphasized on right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. In the modern psychological terms, you study emotional intelligence. In order to understand, figure out your emotion of others, and then think about as to how to manage your relation, your interaction with the society, with other individuals, a group of individuals. That comes with mindfulness, that comes with concentration, that comes with samadhi, meditation. And part of meditation is loving kindness. Loving kindness is kind of practical application of meditation. It's a quality of loving acceptance. It helps in bringing positive attitudinal changes, developing tolerance, giving space to other opinion, women's right, tribals' right, LGBT's rights. Another component of meditation is training the mind. It is related with bhavna. Bhavna also means development or further development in context of development or further development of mind. Buddha believed that everything emanates from man's mind. So a pure mind, a trained mind, a well-developed mind is man's greatest treasure. And you'll find similar thoughts and teaching of other philosophers and thinkers as well. What you think is what you become. Sounds a very familiar quotation. You must have a collection of quotations of various philosophers and moral thinkers, not just random collection, but collection according to situation so that you can use it when time comes during answer writing. I have created a thread on the ELEARN platform under the Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude section. You can come there and participate, give your contribution for quotations, and there is a separate thread for examples. With you, I shall also be posting there, and in due course of time, you can have a rich collection of quotation and example for different situations, different topics of the syllabus of ethics paper. My favorite quotation of Lord Buddha is this: three things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and truth. There are other quotations that you can read through the PDF, take note of them, and add it to your own collection of quotations. Quotations are important. It can be used in opening up the answer, and more effectively, it can be used in conclusion. It can also be used in essay writing, so make sure you have rich collection of quotations for your exam. This article is from the FAQ page of today's newspaper. What are the surveillance laws in India? Actually, there are not many. There are two laws, the Telegraph Act and the IT Act. So we will not be discussing the issue of surveillance or the issue of Pegasus in detail, which rather has been discussed already in the DNS of 20th July 2021 in detail by Jatin sir. So this is just going to be a little complimentary thing to this original discussion of 20th July. The Telegraph Act of 1885 has a section 5(2), that authorizes the government to intercept a message or class of messages when it is in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, security of the state, or friendly relation with foreign states, or public order, or to prevent an incitement. These conditions must sound very familiar to you, to the restrictions imposed under Article 19(2). So you gauge from here that before surveillance, there must be a condition prevailing that necessitated. However, in the plain reading of the Act, you will see condition, but it is very open-ended. It is also subjective. What constitutes public order and what does not? That is very subjective. So on an appeal, Supreme Court gave a judgment in Public Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India in 1996. The allegation was that the phone calls of many politicians were getting tapped by CBI. Supreme Court pointed out a very important thing. It said that the law lacked procedural safeguards. So it laid down certain guidelines. The interception, although court recognized, is an important thing for democratic government to gather intelligence, but that cannot be done in a haphazard manner. The court observed in its ruling that the authorities were engaging in interception even without maintaining adequate records or logs on interception. So the court asked the government to set up a review committee. The purpose was to look into authorizations made under Section 5(2) of Telegraph Act. Based on this judgment, government came up with Rule 419A in the Telegraph Rules in 2007, and also provisions were added in the IT rules under the IT Act in 2009. Rule 419A is the safeguard that was added in the Telegraph Rules in 2007 after the People's Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India judgment. Supreme Court said in the judgment that telephonic conversations are covered by right to privacy. Right to privacy was not added under Article 21 yet, but right to privacy as a right was recognized already. And telephonic conversations were brought under right to privacy in this judgment. The safeguard that was added under the Telegraph Act under Rule 419A was surveillance needs the sanction of Home Secretary, or in unavoidable situation by an officer of Joint Secretary or above rank, if the concerned officer has the Home Secretary's authorization. If you remember, some time back, we have discussed trinity of Article 14, Article 19, and Article 21. And I told you to discuss the issue in the political realm, you can look at it through the prism of this trinity. Right to privacy, as we know today, lies under Article 21. But there are certain restrictions, as we have talked about here, under Article 19. But those restrictions have to be imposed via procedures established by law, so that there is no excess, so that there is equality. That comes from Article 14. Prior to this judgment of Supreme Court, there was concept of right to privacy, which was to be brought under Article 21, which was not then under Article 21, but the concept emanates from Article 21. And we were talking about restrictions, those were similar to one under Article 19. But the missing point of this triad was Article 14, which Supreme Court incorporated through this judgment. Supreme Court struck a balance between privacy and the need for surveillance, the need for gathering intelligence of the government. In Public Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India case of 1996, Supreme Court held that tapping is a serious invasion of individuals' privacy. Supreme Court recognized the practical need of government, howsoever democratic, to gather intelligence, to do surveillance to a certain degree. But at the same time, right to privacy must be protected. And it has to be protected from the abuse by authorities. This was an observation by Supreme Court. This observation was taken further and was given concrete form in K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case. In this case of 2017, Supreme Court took it further, reiterated the need of surveillance, but stated that it should be legally valid and it must serve a legitimate aim of the government. The means adopted to do surveillance to gather intelligence must be proportional to the need, and there must be procedure laid down to check abuses. Supreme Court in K.S. Puttaswamy judgment gave a triple test, and any act of surveillance must pass this triple test. The first test is the test of legality. That means there must be law. In the Aadhaar judgment, Supreme Court used this triple test of K.S. Puttaswamy judgment. To use Aadhaar, the UID, there is a law. So use of Aadhaar by government passed this first test of legality. Then the second test is the test of need. The government must have a clear-cut aim of gathering information or doing surveillance or to gather intelligence, whatever. In the Aadhaar judgment, Supreme Court noted that the government has a stated purpose of using Aadhaar, and they were legitimate. Then the third test is the test of proportionality, meaning there is no excessive information gathering. So you cannot collect any information you want under Aadhaar, and Aadhaar cannot be used for anything that you want. Aadhaar has to be linked with PAN, but Aadhaar is not mandatory for opening a bank account. Aadhaar is mandatory for socially important schemes, but private institutions cannot mandatorily ask for Aadhaar. Aadhaar cannot be made mandatory for purchasing SIM card. So the safeguard that Supreme Court started to give against surveillance in Public Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India case in 1996 got its final shape in the form of this triple test in K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case of 2017. Initially, we talked about that there are two laws in India concerning surveillance. One is the Telegraph Act. The other is the Information Technology Act. Section 69 of the IT Act deals with the power of the government to issue directions for interception or monitoring or decryption of any information through any computer resource. If it is in the interest of sovereignty or integrity of India, defense of India, security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, or public order, or for preventing an offense or investigating any cognizable offense. The conditions are quite similar to one imposed in Telegraph Act, also overlaps with restrictions of Article 19(2). Then there are procedural safeguards in the Information Technology Rules 2009 as well. Similar to the Telegraph Rules, the direction for interception can be issued by a competent authority, which includes Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, both of the central government and the state government. And Section 66 also prescribes punishment to gain unauthorized access to computers, to gather information in an unauthorized manner. But if you have gone through the Pegasus virus case, you understand that laws are lagging behind. The institutional preparedness is also lagging behind. The malware technique has reached to this level that even the original software makers, the WhatsApp makers, they didn't know about it, and they cannot stop it. To understand the entire issue in totality, please go through this DNS of 20th July 2021. There is an article in the FAQ section of today's newspaper on Brexit, but issues that has been discussed in the article has already been discussed in yesterday's DNS by Baswasar. So we are not doing it here again. But the issue is an evolving one, and you have to keep an eye on it from the perspective of international relation. There is another article on the same page based on the recent Supreme Court judgment on cooperatives. But this has been dealt as well in detail in the DNS dated 23rd July 2021 by Naveed sir. So again, I really didn't have much job in today's newspaper. We end it here with question of the day.